Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Gridcast. My name is Deanny Cox, and with me is my co-host. He is a box owner and grid enthusiast, and when he go boom boom, he throw out back. His name is Conan Bruce. Conan.
Good to be here with you guys today. Yes, I did throw out my back. That's why I'm sitting down.
And that's why he looks like he has the height of Tyrion Lannister from the Game of Thrones.
I wish
He's
I
my
was
imp with a gimp.
I wish I was as cool as that little guy.
He's pretty badass.
He's pretty badass. Yeah, so those of you listening to the show, you won't care, but everybody that's watching, I am sitting in a stool because I threw my back out.
Hey, where's your cane?
Oh, shut the fuck
We
up.
gotta show off that cane.
No.
That cane is awesome.
I got a grandpa cane that I use.
Oh, here it is.
For the,
For all of you watching watching the show, here's his cane.
Oh,
God.
So, yeah, I had a parachute accident when I was 19. I fell off a mountain when I was 30, and at 44, I'm walking down the street and slip.
Well, if you remember last episode, we talked about
Can't
how
walk.
you were kind of a badass in the military. You weren't very good in school because you couldn't you couldn't do
I don't know if I was a
English.
badass. I was around a lot of badasses, and they made me do stupid things.
Yeah,
trying to keep up
that's
with
why
them.
you're limping
Yeah.
this week.
So anyway, I threw my back out. So no deadlifting for me today. But, what do we got going on the show?
Yeah, so Quadrant 1, we're going to talk a little bit about the new signings for the NPGL. And
Which is quite a few.
Yeah, quite a
Yeah,
few,
it's
actually,
exciting.
since last time we reported on it.
Yeah.
And then in Quadrant 2, we're going to talk a little bit about some changes in the NPGL as well. Some different
Couple of
athletes.
roster changes.
Yeah, a couple of roster changes that I think we should bring to light. And then we'll also talk about our Quadrant 3 guest. And our Quadrant 3 guest is the man, the myth, the legend, Dmitry Klokov from the big country of Russia.
Is that why you started off that with a Russian accent?
Well, hell yeah. So, guys, so I'm really excited about the show, so let's just go ahead and start it.
See you there. Hey, welcome back, guys. Here we are in Quadrant 1 of the Gridcast. If we haven't said it recently, please go onto iTunes and listen to the podcast. And if you like it, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like it, well, then just walk away slowly.
Yeah, like your mom used to tell you, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys listening or watching the show. So today, in Quadrant 1, we're going to talk about a couple of signings.
Yeah, so Hannah Caldas was signed onto the Baltimore Anthem recently, and I think she is probably the most intelligent signing they've had yet for the Baltimore Anthem.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know.
Because they've signed some pretty good folks.
And we have Dmitry Klokov on Quadrant 3, but we're going to talk about him on the next.
Yeah, we'll get there in a
little
minute.
bit.
Well, let's talk about Hannah though. You know what? I gotta agree with you. 82 grid score.
Yeah, and if you remember back in a couple months ago from the Boston Pro Days, we interviewed Aaron Bailey, commissioner of the NPGL, and he talked about the grid score and talked about where the professionals rank within that grid score. So on Off the Grid, go check out that interview. But he talks about if you have a grid score between 60 and 80, you're pretty much considered a pro athlete. That's basically where they're ranking.
Yeah, and between 80 and 100, you're just a badass.
You're just a badass. So she got 82.
She's 2 points into the badass realm.
Right. And she is technically a barbell specialist, but if you're a barbell specialist and you're doing 15-foot rope climbs in 26 seconds, you're a little more than just a barbell specialist.
Yeah, so if you just look at her strength numbers, right? So we got a 265 clean and jerk, a 215 snatch, a 400-pound back squat, and 465 deadlift. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 465. I mean, those are. I mean, I think she weighs somewhere around 170 pounds in that framework. Dude, that's some legit numbers.
Legit, yeah.
So if you can do that, and you can do 20 thrusters in 29 seconds, and you can do 14 muscle ups in 80 seconds, you're a huge help to any pro grid league team.
Absolutely, and the Baltimore Anthem, they weren't the only team that noticed that she was a badass. She was originally signed by Carolina Crush.
Right.
And so she was part of that double Hannah that we talked about before.
Yep. Carolina went away, and she's a free agent, so to speak, and then.
Yep, and she was taken care of by getting signed on by the Baltimore Anthem. So really excited about that sign. I can't wait to see what she's going to do, and she's a friend of the show. So
yeah, we just talked to Baltimore, and they were kind of letting us in on a new signing that probably will have been announced by the time our show hits. Her name is Lori Thornton.
Thornton. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
perfectly sure about the pronunciation.
All
of
I
the last
know is
name.
she was, I think she was a hammer thrower in the 2008 Olympics.
Who also was a hammer thrower that was MVP of the league last year. Oh,
Who might
weird.
that be?
Taylor Stallings.
Exactly. So here's what's cool, because I ran track for a short time in high school. That wasn't good enough to go into college. But I was impressed, by, even back then, being a power lifter, being a weightlifter, seeing the power generated from some of these folks who are in the track and the field part of the track and field.
Right.
It's ridiculous how that transfer of power comes over into other things, right? So everybody thinks, shot put, hammer, things like that.
I was a shot put thrower.
Yeah, you have to be strong and powerful.
Yep.
Right? And so here we play this forward in college, and then she goes to the Olympics. I think she's going to be somebody to keep an eye on this year on the grid.
Oh, definitely, hands down. And someone else to keep an eye on is Pip Malone. So Pip Malone is a 2-time games athlete, and she was also signed by the Baltimore Anthem. They were pretty busy this week.
Right.
They're really busy this week.
Well, I mean, they're one of the expansion teams. It's kind of to be expected.
Has to be, yeah.
But it's we think it's cool to see. Like, especially love seeing, highly athletic, really, really strong women come out and play grid.
Yeah, and she's going to be a really good utility player, and she has a really nice accent, being an Aussie. So I'm not going to lie.
I thought you were going to say something else for a minute.
I'm going to love hearing her talk.
She was like, she's got a nice what?
Nice
accent.
Yeah, she's a cutie,
I'm sure
too.
she'll appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
2-time Reebok CrossFit Games athlete, right?
Yep.
Twice to the games. Yeah, she's going to be.
If you're
somebody
coming from Australia getting to the games, you're no person from let's say Asia or whatever.
We don't want to make it seem like it's easy to get in from.
Well,
Asia.
it's not easy.
Right, but there are regions that are harder than others, and
right.
Australia definitely has an amazing talent pool.
Absolutely, and actually, we have quite a few viewers and listeners from Australia.
Yes, we do.
So, hey to the Aussies out there.
How do you say hey in Australian?
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie. I don't know.
They're going to hate us now. They're all going to just take themselves off
Sorry,
the podcast.
guys. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Please don't rate the show if you're from Australia.
Educate us on it. I know how to speak Australian. It's the same. It's the same. It's
Weird.
English.
Or we can just go to Outback.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Now they're really going to hate us. Let's talk about Craig Kinney.
Yeah, so Craig Kinney was signed to the Phoenix Rise. He was previously part of the Philly Founders last year. He has a 435-pound back squat and a 535-pound deadlift.
That is legit.
But you know what, though? He's also a very well-rounded athlete. He's not just someone who can pick up a bar. He does 20 unbroken muscle-ups and 45 chest-to-bars as well, unbroken.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I feel like with these agents being thrown around now, these free agents and the new signings, the bar is definitely being lifted in the NPGL. It's
for sure
exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some shifts, and we're going to talk more about those shifts in Quadrant 2, but as we see Baltimore sign some of these athletes, it's going to be fun, because the first year, I mean, let's just be honest. I think most teams, even though they probably wouldn't agree with this or wouldn't say it in public, they were guessing a lot, right?
Absolutely.
So all they had to go off was maybe Reebok CrossFit Games, maybe some functional fitness throwdowns that they've seen. Like, we weren't really sure how these races were going to pan out, right? So all these teams get together. They think they get the best people they can for the job, and some teams did better than others. And I think other teams are learning from that. Okay, what kind of mixture works well, right? I'll keep talking about specialists. I think what it is really is that you have athletes that can perform at the more elite level in barbell movements and gymnastics movements, and maybe at just a general level at the other side. And then we call them a utility player, but I mean, these are just damn good athletes.
Absolutely,
that's what they are.
And it's interesting. We've talked to a lot of coaches, and over the past few months since we started this podcast, and one coach even talked to us, I'm not going to say who it was, said, we could probably, since we now know what the NPGL is like and what the races are like, we could get rid of the entire roster and start brand new again,
right?
Knowing how to form the teams, and get the best team out there.
Yeah, and obviously they wouldn't do that. They're
right.
not going to cut a bunch of players, but it is, hindsight's always 20/20.
It was something they thought about, but then said, nah, definitely not going to do that. We're just going to groom the players.
Because I think each team has some really good grid players. I think some of this plays out in how the team structured their training camps, how the team structured their communication. We've talked to some teams that literally have a conference call every week. And when you have athletes spread out all over the world, all over the country, you have to keep constant communications. It's not even just talking about grid. It's just talking. If you don't talk to your buddy for 6 months, then they're not really your buddy anymore, right? So just keeping a constant line of communication with these athletes. I think some of the teams that have done that better, that has nothing to do with athletics. It has more to do with like the culture of the team. And I think you'll see as we go along, just like in every other sport, the teams that have a really strong culture, a really strong foundation, the athletes know each other, they know each other's families. Like you're going to see that. Maybe then that doesn't equate to winning. It definitely equates to better performance, though.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into a couple of the big stories and big roster moves that's happened in the NPGL in Quadrant 2. So without further ado,
Let's go.
Quadrant 2. All right, guys, so let's talk about the big story right now in the NPGL. So this was brought actually a good friend of the show and listener, Rob Holland, asked us a question on Facebook, and he noticed something weird on the New York roster. And
there was a person missing.
Yeah, Annie Thorsdottir was missing on the New York roster. So I pulled every contact I possibly could, trying to find out. Was this just
try to
an
find
oversight?
out why?
Yeah, was it an oversight? What was the deal?
And then who'd you ask?
Then I asked her, Annie
Just asked
Thorsdottir
Annie,
herself.
right?
I said, well, wait a minute.
We thought about this.
Why am I going around everyone?
Why not? Because we're the Gridcast. We can ask anybody. Right? So we just texted Annie. And Danny texted Annie while he was up in New York getting ready to interview our next interviewee on Quadrant 3. But anyway, and Annie reached out, and we're thankful for it, right? Because it's better to have a quote from the source than from, like, somebody kind of involved, right?
Right, yeah. So while I was walking around New York, actually lost trying to get back to Times Square, and I was somewhere in Chinatown, not knowing where I was. And anyway, I looked into my phone and said, oh, Annie Thorsdottir just contacted me. And actually, so she said, I'm concentrating on the games this year. That's why I'm not on the roster for the NPGL or for the New York Rhinos.
Yeah, and good for her. I mean, I think as we go forward with this, we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot more of this, where you have athletes that. I mean, I hate talking about CrossFit like it's been around for decades, right? Because it's only been a decade or so, right?
It's pretty new itself.
But it is what it is. Like, it's the first, functional fitness realm of things where people can compete. So we had CrossFit the fitness methodology. That exploded. Tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people are doing it. Then you make CrossFit a sport, and that's cool. Then it's something you can compete at. Well, we have the Reebok CrossFit Games. You fast forward. There's going to be athletes that still put the Reebok CrossFit Games like up on a pedestal, right? And they're like, I have to do this.
Well, it's the Olympics of functional fitness.
Right.
It is. I mean, just like there's...
Because you are crowned the fittest on earth.
Right.
Grid does not make that claim. And I think that's important for us to accept and think about. They make no claims that their athletes are the fittest.
As a matter of fact, when I asked Aaron Bailey, does the grid score... Is it a good indicator of your fitness level?
He said absolutely not.
No, and I don't care about that.
No, and I think that's something to be said for both sides of this, to where grid is not trying to find out who's the fittest. I mean, basketball doesn't try to find out who's the fittest.
Nope. Football doesn't either.
Grid is a sport.
Yep.
It happens to look a little bit like other functional fitness sports, but it's a different sport.
But we even talked about how it's going to be difficult for athletes to do both.
Yeah, it will. I think you could do both. This is my gut feeling as a coach. You can do both. You can make it probably at the pro level at Grid. You can make it to the CrossFit Games. I'm not sure you can win at both.
Right.
I'm not sure you can stand on the podium at the CrossFit Games and be. I mean, it's not. It's kind of apples and oranges, because in Grid we're not talking about individual athletes. We're talking about a team. So you can't even really compare. You might not win the season as a Grid athlete because of your team, right? It's not just you. Annie is not going to take New York to the finals, right? I think Annie could help them get to the finals for sure, right?
Absolutely.
She's an amazing athlete. Sad to see her go. Hopefully it's temporarily. But the takeaway from all this is to keep reminding folks these are two totally different sports. And when an athlete, particularly an athlete like her, she has won the CrossFit Games. In her mind, if she knows what it takes to win. She's won before. In her mind, if she thinks, hey, I have another shot at the title, just like in boxing, just like anywhere else, I'm going to take the shot.
Well, the only reason why she had to disappear from the CrossFit Games after she won them is because she hurt her back.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Sam Briggs ended up taking it. And then last year, Camille LeBlanc, right?
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to say that like Sam just won because Annie wasn't there.
No, I know,
right.
but
because Sam's a badass.
She is a badass.
She's a badass.
She truly
deserves
is a badass.
that.
And I'm not trying to take any of that away. And if I implied that, sorry. What I mean though is that Annie, I think, has fully recovered from her back now and wants to prove that she really is the fittest. And she's currently sitting at number 2.
Yeah, on the leaderboard, right? She's she's right behind Camille LeBlanc. It's going to be I think it's going to be fun to watch every year this play out until you figure out. So I mean, yes, there's money involved in the CrossFit Games. There is. If you win, you get a decent amount of change. If you win certain elements as it goes along, right? So if you win certain workouts, you get paid, right?
Yep.
But by and large, if you're not in that small group of people that are winning workouts, right? So each winner of a workout gets X amount of money and a plaque or something.
Yep.
Right.
It changes every year.
Yeah. So if you win along the way, yes, you do get money. I mean, I would imagine that Rich Froning is not broke, right? He probably isn't.
Man, I would love to have his payday.
but let's back off of that and let's go 20 athletes deep. I don't know, right?
Right.
So what athletes are going to have to decide is, and athletes do this when it comes to the Olympics and other sports, is does it matter enough to me that I want to stand on the podium? When we talk, we ask Dmitry Klokov in the next interview in Quadrant 3. You guys are going to see us talk about asking him the same thing about the Olympics, and we're interested to see what his answer is. Same thing with Annie. Same thing with athletes like her. That they have this. I'll give a personal example, right? So I was in the Army. I went through Ranger School, didn't make it, got sick as a dog about halfway through, and just could not recover.
Did you throw your back out?
No. I wish I could do. I wish it was that easy. No, just pneumonia, bronchitis. It's very common. It's very common in Ranger School for folks to get sick. You rarely make. I mean, it's a huge attrition rate. But I went into a different path after I got back to my unit in the Army. But even to this day, if I was to be honest, if I had a shot to go back at 44 years old and they give me an age waiver, I might try it again, right? And that's stupidity. There's no way that
you should.
Yeah, right. There's no way that that's a good idea, right? So at some point, I think some of these athletes will think about that and go. I mean, because they do a lot of damage to their body, not only preparing for the CrossFit Games, but the CrossFit Games is a multi-day event.
Oh, yeah.
It wears on you. It tears on you.
Hell yeah.
Right? I know what that feels like when you're going day in and day out, and you're trying to pace yourself because you don't know what's coming tomorrow, right?
Right.
The grid is nothing like that. You know exactly what's coming tomorrow. Hockey's no different. Baseball's no different. Football's no different. All these other sports, I know what I'm training for, and I know whether I can get in there and help the team for this short amount. CrossFit is not like that, and I think that's why CrossFit Games is so popular, because people like that unknown, unknowable part, right?
Yep.
But you're going to have athletes that don't necessarily perform well in that environment. They're going to perform well in grid, so they got to choose. We're definitely going to see this play out, and I think Annie is just going to be one of many examples of athletes that decided, hey, I know that I could probably do grid and CrossFit Games, but if I want to win, I've got to be focused on one at a time.
And we wish her the best.
Oh, absolutely.
I really hope that
nothing would make me happier
amazing.
to see her on the podium again.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about another athlete who, is a question mark for the grid this next year. He could be amazing. He could be a total badass, or maybe not so much.
Are we talking about Tyler?
Well, Tyler, I think, is a badass already, and he's one hell of a cameraman, and he's pretty
If you
beautiful.
guys don't follow Gridcast on Instagram, you need to, because Tyler basically runs our Instagram page, and he has got some cool pictures up there. And if you want to see how much of a badass he is, go to Instagram.
He's got some sexy sweat angels out there.
He does. He does. And some bloody shins.
Bloody shins.
Bloody shins.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, so yeah, Dmitry Klokov, we talked to him in Quadrant 3, which is coming up pretty soon. But so he's an unknown, right? We saw him in the thruster ladder.
Gridwise.
In Gridwise, right. We saw him in the thruster ladder last year, put on an exhibition at the championship match, and he went all the way to 385 pounds on the thruster, but he also had 3 minutes to get through this ladder. Well, in NPGL, when we talked to Nick, your anchor, and we talked to him on the side for a little bit, they basically think 40 seconds is pretty much what you have out there on race number 7. So not 3 minutes.
Right.
So let's just see what he's going to do. Now, I know that there are some specific races and specific parts that Dmitry Klokov can run in there and be a badass. Maybe.
Yeah, and to give Baltimore its due, I think Garrett and all the folks involved in Baltimore, I think they know this. I think they know that this is a gamble, right? For a guy like Dmitry. You take a guy that hasn't played team sports really, is a phenomenal weightlifter, but again, you don't have the time. You walk up to the bar, pick it up.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind he's strong enough to pick up any of the weight out there. But if you've ever seen him set up for an Olympic lift, that man takes forever before he actually lifts the bar up the ground, right? Now, I get that's kind of getting your mind straight and everything, but you don't have that kind of time in grid. Grid is about how fast you can move that bar, how fast can you do those repetitions.
I think you can handle the weight. I think you can handle the performance factor. It's going to be what I think is going to be interesting to watch, and what I'm looking forward to seeing is how that plays out with the transitions. If he's in those races where you're working with partners, and I don't know, it's definitely going to be, because look, I'll be the first one to say that I'm wrong if I am wrong, but I think it's going to be tough for him. I think because he's shown us that he's a phenomenal athlete. He's got good athletics, right? Yep. I think he does. He wrestled when he was young. He's done Olympic weightlifting. He's got the power. He's got the strength. I'm sure he's got the conditioning. I'm sure he's
got the work ethic.
Because he's got a training age, right, that started young, 10, 12 years old. So for him to get conditioned, it's going to take a shorter amount of time than it will most people. I don't think conditioning is going to be his big problem, but it's going to be interesting just to see how he can work with other team members, right? There's going to be a language barrier. I don't care how hard.
Absolutely. That was going to be my next point, is the language barrier. We know that when he is in the United States for a long period of time, in 3 or 4 months doing his seminars, that his English gets better by the end.
Sure.
Right. At the very beginning, it's not so good, which is to be expected, obviously.
Absolutely. When I used to spend 3 or 4 months at a time in South America, Central America, I spoke really good Spanish. Haven't been there in a long time. I couldn't even order a beer in Spanish right now. And I like beer, right?
Yo tengo la cerveza. I got it. No, I have a beer. Dang it.
Uno más, por favor. Uno más. So we know the language deal is going to be there. We know the team. It's going to be. It's really going to be. It's going to be fun to watch, no matter what. But I'm going to hold off on getting on the Dmitry train. I'm just. I don't know yet whether he's going to be able to. And I love the guy as a weightlifter.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of his. I've been a huge fan of him. I watched at the Reebok CrossFit Games last year at Again Faster area in the Vendor Village.
Vendor Village. Yeah.
He did a mini seminar, about a 2-hour seminar, and for a few different occasions actually. And I watched him in 2 of those occasions. So I watched it again, him do the same thing, because he can lift some things that I can never imagine. I mean, take one of those mini cars out there, he can just throw that over his head. Yeah. Right? It's pretty amazing.
It's in his happy place, right? Yeah. I think it's going to be fun to watch if the grid is his happy place. If being out there on that.
I hope it is.
I mean, this guy loves attention. We know he does.
And he's bringing a lot of attention to the league.
Yeah, he definitely is. It's going to be a challenge for Baltimore Anthem to play him at his best, at his strengths, and make it work for the team.
Yeah. So the interview is coming up right next on the next quadrant. There is a little bit of a language issue, little language barrier, so just bear with it a little bit. But I loved the interview. I had a great time out there at CrossFit 732 Absolute Strength in South Amboy, New Jersey. So thanks a lot for allowing us to come out there and conduct our business there. Really fun box. They're very inviting. If you're ever in the area, go check them out. So let's stop yabbering and let's get on to the good part of the show in Quadrant 3. So I am absolutely ecstatic to be here with this great man right here. So he was a multinational champion in Russia. He's a bronze medalist for the Worlds in 2006 and 2007. He was a silver medalist in 2010-11. European gold medalist in 2010. Silver medalist at the Olympic Games in 2008. And a gold medalist in World Championships in 2005.
It's about me?
It's about you. And in Russia, he danced into everyone's hearts on celebrity dance. What was it called again? Celebrity
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars,
yes,
yeah. And then
Splash.
And then you're in Celebrity Splash as well.
Yes.
Speaking of that, you also made a splash in the NPGL by joining the Baltimore Anthem. He's the man, the myth, the legend, Dmitry Klokov.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. And it's incredible to find out that you are actually playing for the NPGL for the Baltimore Anthem. So last year at the championships, you did an incredible thruster ladder.
This was not incredible.
You had kind of 385 pounds.
I was not happy after.
No?
No, I don't.
So back then, though, did someone talk to you about joining a team? Did Garrett speak to you for the Baltimore Anthem then?
We speak about my competing grid with New York Runners before, last year. And after Trust Letters, another owners from this team,
the Baltimore Anthem,
start speak with me about this, and this was very friendly.
Yeah,
speak very friendly. This is why I choose this team. It's comfortable for me.
Well, it's great for us. We are actually from the D.C. area, so that's a pretty short drive for us to come see you in Baltimore. So we're pretty excited about it.
And it is closer to Moscow too. I like New York Runners and Baltimore because it's closer. For example, if I compete, for LA team, I need from Moscow fly to New York. From New York to LA.
Yeah, that's pretty
too
far
for me. Yeah. This way more comfortable for me from Moscow to New York or Boston.
Right, that's got to be a lot nicer.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to me that in Russia, a weightlifter can be so popular that you can be on these celebrity dance competitions or you can be in Celebrity Splash. Because in the United States, if, for instance, my wife, she's sitting right over there, if she went up to anybody at her school and said, I'm a weightlifter, they ask her, well, do you need a spray tan for that? Because they think she's doing bodybuilding.
My friend, this is the same situation with Russia.
It is. But
yes.
How did you get that popular in Russia that you're a celebrity?
For example, when I start different TV show from 2008. And some company just choose myself and I go first time and I understand what he need.
Oh, okay.
If you're boring, if you're not interesting, this is production and post-production.
Right.
In production, you can speak, no speak, smile, no smile, but in post-production, you guys cut and choose only some interesting things.
Right.
I understand this.
Yes.
This is why I give everything what he needs.
Yeah.
And after, TV company understand. Okay,
right.
Dmitry Klokov, not bad. But now I'm popular in Russia only because I'm use some TV show, not because I'm weightlifter. No one know what I'm a weightlifter. Before when I started doing Dancing with the Stars, Splash, another TV show, everyone know what I'm weightlifter, but not because this guy is watching TV when I lift an Olympic Games or World Champion. No, it's because this guy is watching me in TV show.
Okay.
And this is why I said this is the same situation with America.
Yeah, no, that is very similar then. Okay,
yes.
I totally understand that then. So for everyone who doesn't know, and I actually don't know what your current stats are, what are your maxes for the clean and jerk and the snatch?
Official best result in snatch, this is 202.5. This was nationals, Russian nationals. And training 206 kilos. It's kilos.
Oh.
Yes, 206 and 202.5 in competition. In clean and jerk, official 240 in Russian nationals, and unofficial, not official, 242. This is my best.
And this morning you had a pause snatch, and what was that weight?
this was 3 kilos PR plus 3.5 plus to my PR, what I lift ever in this exercise. My best was 190. Today, this was 193.5 in kilos. But yesterday, I try 3 times 189 kilos, and I 3 times drop. This is why I said, guys, tomorrow I will repeat again.
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm ready, but now I prepare for bodybuilding a little bit.
And that was amazing.
And 2 days ago, I doing really bodybuilding training.
Yeah.
This is why yesterday I was too tight, too sore, not speed. But yesterday I'm relaxed a little bit, and today was easy.
That's amazing. And I saw the video on Instagram, and that was pretty impressive. That was, you lifted a car over your head.
No, come on, not car.
That's pretty amazing to me.
Which one car? 193 kilos.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true.
For children,
It'd be a little tiny car,
for children.
but it's a car. So how long have you been weightlifting? How old were you when you started?
Almost 20 years I'm in weightlifting.
Okay, so
almost 20.
and how old
I
are you?
started in 12. Now I'm already 32.
Okay, so 20 years in weightlifting. And then when you're on the road and you're traveling and giving these seminars, how do you prevent yourself from injury? And how do you keep up with your nutrition?
This is difficult.
Yeah.
This is difficult, yes. This is difficult, and I understand now what I really lift big weight, but I'm not have good recovery. I traveling every time. I'm tired, but I don't need lift. If I feel no good now, I don't lift big weight.
Okay.
Just listen my body. Yes, and one more. When you're young and you prepare for competition, for example, your best result in snatch 190 kilos. When you're young, when you're 25, you need from when you're not in good shape, from start to your best result in snatch, you need 7 months, 6-7 months after no good shape to best shape. When you're 30 or 32 like me now, you need maybe 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Because you like man when you...
Right. You've put in the years. You've put in the years of building the muscles,
Yeah,
so now it doesn't take as long.
You're much more stronger because you're not training on your muscles. Your joint, ligaments, bones ready for this weight. You're much more stronger because you are like man, not children, not teenager.
Right.
Your muscles stronger, your joints stronger, ligaments stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so at home, what is your routine in order to prevent yourself from injury?
Right now or when I prepare
When
for
you're at
competition?
home. When you're at home.
No, when I come back home right now or when I prepare for competition.
How about when you're preparing for a competition?
When we prepare for competition, on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, we have sauna and massage. 1.5 hours sauna in total, not 1.5 hours inside sauna, no. It's just drink tea, relax, swimming pool, and 5 sets of saunas, yeah? And after sauna, we go to massage, 1.5 hours full massage. This is a professional massage, 1.5 hours, 3 times per week. This biggest problem in USA and biggest problem in weightlifting community where weightlifting not popular, in some countries where weightlifting not popular, and in CrossFit community. What people ask me every time, what you recommending for recovery or for something else? I said, when you was last time in sauna? When you was last time in massage? Some people said, maybe 3 months ago I was in massage, and I asked, and before? Never. You're 25. You was in massage only one time. Of course, you're not flexible. Because
I'm 33. I've had it once.
That's what I mean. But
yeah.
for Russian people, for Soviet Union system, this is normal.
Yeah.
Treat minimum 2 times per week. Minimum sauna and massage.
That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'd like that a lot. So,
but it's not for fun. This really work.
Oh, I'm
job.
sure.
Yes, it's your job too.
So, where do you see your role in the grid for the Baltimore Anthem?
What do you mean?
So what is your role on the team? I mean, obviously you're a heavy lifter. Do you think you're going to be used quite frequently during the matches? Do you think you're going to be someone who comes out there when the big weights are there and you just need to be there for race 7, for instance, or the end? Where do you see yourself as
this where I like grid because if you're really professional weightlifter, you must be doing your professional. You doing your what's said what you're doing every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same your job,
right?
And maybe something extra. Now I don't know what else. I don't know. I don't know really.
That's okay.
I don't know.
That's okay. So you've said in other podcasts or other interviews that I've seen and read that you have ambitions to be at the 2016 Olympic Games. Is that still true?
I can say no. What I not compete, but I said for everyone. Guys, when you're 25, when you're 22, 20, and when you think about Olympic medals or world record medals, this is normal because this is pushing you forward. Like,
Right.
come on, train. You understand what you want. This is your goal. But when you're already 32, and in Olympics, then this will be almost 34, you're old man. And when you think about Olympic Games, when you're 34, this sounds stupid because you have a family, daughter, you have business.
Yep.
You're ready for your normal life. You did it. You're doing your name. You have a lot of medals. But yes, this not. I don't have gold medal in Olympic Games, but in other medals I have
Yes.
different goals. For when you're young, Olympic Games, this is your really gold. But when you're 32, this is not really pushing you.
Right.
Not
right.
really pushing you because most important your family.
So your family is pushing you?
My family said everyone, but my father, my mother, my sister, my wife said no, stop it. This stupid and this you don't need. You don't
Right.
need. You trained 20 years like job. This was your 20 years. This was your job. Now just relax, enjoy. If you want lift,
Sounds like good advice.
If you want lift, snatch, clean and jog because you're 20 years doing this. Okay, doing that just for fun. Just for fun. This is what I'm doing now.
And that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're going to be doing it for the Baltimore Anthem, which that's
this
a lot
new
of fun.
challenge because this is pushing me forward. This is
Yeah.
like new challenge for me.
Have you been training yourself for grid?
Now I prepare for bodybuilding competition.
Okay.
Yes, after 1 month, April 27, I will compete. This is why 2 months I train for bodybuilding. And after bodybuilding, when my competition, bodybuilding finishing, after 3 weeks, I will compete in weightlifting competition, my personal competition. I organize competition in Moscow.
Mhm.
This will be Klokov Power Weekend, 2 days competition, weightlifting competition.
Nice.
And after I will have 1.5 months for prepare for first match of grid.
Okay.
And when I'm finishing weightlifting competition, I start doing a lot of cardios, special workouts for grid. Yeah.
Will you be practicing with the team?
We're planning meeting first time 4 days before first match.
Okay.
This
Okay. I got you.
Because we don't have, we must work.
Right, because
Yes.
everyone has their own lives. They're all doing their own
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
It's the
So-
same with Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Grid interesting for me. I will train hard. I will compete 100%, but I can't give all my time, all my free
Sure.
time. Understand what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I understand.
I need work. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so in the past, you've had some difficulty or whatever with some coaches in the past, right? And weightlifting is also a very individualized sport.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that presents challenges for you bringing it to the grid where it's a definite team sport and team atmosphere?
I hope. I hope this help for people. This I hope made grid little bit more interesting. Because
Oh, I'm sure you'll make it interesting.
Yes, I hope.
You've already
I
made it
hope I
interesting.
help for grid because I like this idea. This good for athletes. This good for athletes. And if I can doing more popular grid, because I will lift big weight, not small weight, big weight.
Right,
This
right.
will be more interesting
course.
for people. I hope. Yes, I hope this help for grid.
Of course. So, all right. So I think. You know what? I have one more question because my wife wanted to ask this question. So a lot of weightlifters, they have their own superstitions, right? So my wife, for instance, when the bar is racked, she can't get underneath it. She or not underneath it. She can't cross underneath it because she
Scary.
thinks it's bad luck.
Scary.
No, it's
Scary.
bad luck.
Bad
like,
luck?
Yeah. So it's like a superstition. Like if I walk under there, then I'm not going to be able to lift it later. Like it's kind of a superstition. Do you have any superstitions about the setting up for weightlifting?
No, something special.
No, okay. Maybe there's a different language barrier there that
Maybe
talk
yes.
about those.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much for joining us on the
Thank you.
Gridcast.
Thank
Good
you.
luck on the grid next year with the Baltimore Anthem. And so, without further ado, let's kick it on over to Quadrant 4.
Thank you.
Holy crap, that was amazing with Dmitry Klokov. I feel so excited that I was able to do that down to South.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, it was great meeting up with us. It's very rare to actually get an interview in the United States with Dmitry Klokov. So I was
What CrossFit
thrilled
gym
to do
that
that.
was?
That was in CrossFit 732 in South Amboy, New Jersey.
Yeah, thanks for letting us in.
Yeah,
That was great.
It was awesome. So coming up, we have the SHGL tournament is kicking off this weekend on April 4th. Definitely go check that out. There's another big announcement up in the MAGL arena.
Oh,
April 3rd. Isn't that right, Scotty McHaggis? Or Spicy McHaggis?
Spicy McHaggis, yeah. All right, yeah, so we're kind of talking in clues. But you guys will see April 3rd, we're making an announcement for the MAGL, and it'll be kind of cool. It is grid-related, so
and then we have also the Combines coming up in Lanham, Maryland on April, is it 18th and 19th?
Yep.
Yeah, April 18th and 19th. So come out and see the grid races.
It's a great venue, too. I mean, if anybody remembers, if you went to the Reebok CrossFit Games regionals, were held there for a few years, and it's right by FedEx Field in Maryland. It's a great facility.
Yep.
It's going to be cool to watch. And if you haven't seen a race yet, this is a great opportunity to come out and watch some racing. Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be a good old family entertainment.
Absolutely. And we're going to be there, too. So if you see us, stop by, get a picture taken with us. Also, thank you very much for all of your communication with us. We get a lot of messages on Facebook, private messages, or Instagram or wherever, and we really enjoy communicating with you guys. So we want to say thank you to the fans for reaching out to us. We also wouldn't have found out or noticed Andy Thor's daughter for a little while if it wasn't.
No, if Rob gave us a heads up. I mean, we check the rosters every few weeks, just kind of see how things are going. But we also know that the league, it probably has a lot on their hands to try to keep those rosters correct while all these signings are going on and everything, all the movement. So we kind of just wait for the season to start to make sure we got the right roster. But Rob noticed that Annie wasn't up there, and he said, "Hey guys, can you find out?" And cool that we did.
Yep. So please continue sharing this with your fans. The show keeps growing, and we're very excited about it. And also, what would be a huge favor to us, please go over to iTunes right now and give us a 5-star rating. That would really help out the show quite a bit. So I think that wraps it up.
Let's do it.
So until next time, clean up your jerks and snatches, drink your beer in batches, and always dominate your grid matches. See you later, guys.
See ya.